In this video, we're going to go over how to set up a new data import template using the LSC data ingester tool. Once the LSC data ingester has been installed, navigate to the data ingester tab and you will see data import and setup. Go to setup, and one import template LSC admin panels will automatically create by default. And if you want to create new import templates, click on entry. And in here, name your template. We're going to name this contacts standard v2. Set this to active and add any additional notes. Then we'll click save. And now we have our new contact standard template v2. It is important to note that there are two permission sets that install with the managed package for the LSC data ingester, and those permission sets will need to be assigned to the user in order to be allowed to set those up. And those permission sets, let's get the name of those real quick, are going to be LSC data ingester user and LSC data ingester admin. If LSC data ingester admin is not assigned to the user, they will not be able to see the setup tab and set up a new import template. In order for the user to access data ingester at all and use data import here, they will need to have the standard user permission set. Now, in order to set up our actual import template with our fields, we'll go to contacts standard v2 and click edit. Let's go ahead and just call this contacts standard, and this is what is going to appear as the label for the users. And then this is going to be the API name of the object that we're going to perform our import on. And so we're going to put in here contact. We'll say we'll import these 5 at a time, and we'll do a max rows of 200, meaning if we upload a file greater than 200, it's going to error on the user and is going to insert or update our records in groups of 5. So let's go ahead and add a label. So let's do contact. Actually, let's do update ID. And this field is going to map to the ID. This is going to be a reference field. And in here, we're going to make the ID or the full name the name of the contact that we match by. And we also have the option to filter this contact down that it's going to match against even more. Meaning if we want to have a type field, for example, we say only match to contacts of this type or other records of a certain type when doing this lookup. For instance, this can be very helpful where you have one object where the name is the same, but it can be duplicated, but it cannot be duplicated across certain types of records. I can do match first row if multiple are found, and I can leave blank if none are found. So I'm just going to do leave blank if none found, which is functionally going to make this an upsert. If I wanted this to be an update, I could require this field, and then now this is really an update as far as the template. And if I don't put this field in here at all, then it would be an insert. And then we also have, I'm going to add another field here, and let's just make this one more of a standard field. So we'll do first name, standard, and then we'll do last name. And so this is the label. It'll show up in the file. This is the API name of the field. And then we'll just do account. And this is going to be a reference field as well. And we're going to match by ID or name. And then we'll just do title, make that standard. And then real quick, you can also do, I'm going to make this standard as well, but just to show, you can also do constant. And in this case, you can do a standard field and just fill it out, and that'll be what it is every time as part of the load. Most of the time, if I make something a constant, I normally hide it so it doesn't even show up for the user. I could also do a user field, so I could do an API name of a user field for it to match against, or I could do a target lookup. I like doing target lookups in order to set something that's dependent on master data that will be a constant within the org. These would be things that we don't necessarily want to hard code because they'll be different if we create a partial copy or developer sandbox and we still want these to work or work across orgs. So in which case I can say do a target lookup to a record where criteria equals X, and then this would match to that record and to our return field. So for example, I could do LSC1 material, and then we're going to return back the ID. I could also return back a different field if I was matching to a different type of field. And then I could do where our system type is equal to demo, and then it would match to that material record. Cool. But in this case, I'm just going to set this to standard. Awesome. Then I'll save this. Now these will be my column headers that we would show. I can also go in here to preview and see that it does render. Everything looks good. I could also go in here and download my template and view that template as well. And here's how my template came out. And I can see here that all my column headers look correct. I'm not going to do any updates, but I'll just we'll do first one, last one, we'll do a count. In this case, we'll just do legendary supply chain, do title, and I'll just leave email blank in this case. And then I could go down here and we could create all of our contacts. Let's actually do Acme. I'm pretty sure they're in this org. And then I can save this and then upload this file. So while you're in setup, something to note, you can preview this import, and so you can make sure this works. Again, you can click your chevron to download your template. You can also go to approved users, and this is going to show you all of the users that are approved to access this template, meaning it's going to show up under the data import tab for those users who don't have access to setup. And I can also go in here to select users in order to add new users for any standard users that are in this environment. I can add those users as approved users in order to access this template. If I create this import template, it will add the current running user as a standard user by default, or excuse me, as an approved user by default. So let's test this, and I like to test under data import. I can test under preview as well, but I just want to make sure it does show up in my standard list. I can go here and select this. It'll have my upload here. Then I can just go and upload my file. That file doesn't need to be a CSV. It'll render the data for me. And then I have the option to clear rows or download all data and start my import. And I can see those all imported correctly. I can click this green check mark and it will take me to that user record now. Or if there was an error, I could hover over that and it would show me my warning messages. Then from here, I can download my success rows. And if I had errors, I could also download my errored rows. And this is how I would set up a data import template using the LSC data ingestor tool, as well as how I would then test that import template to make sure that it's working correctly. Thank you very much.